Slavery did not begin in America, nor did it begin with Europe. It began almost as far back as human history itself. Wherever power, greed, and conquest existed, so did the buying and selling of human beings. Ancient kingdoms enslaved prisoners of war, debtors, and even their own people. From Mesopotamia to Egypt, from Greece to Rome, slavery was a part of the world's economy, normalized and justified by culture and religion alike. But centuries before the Atlantic slave trade, another system was already thriving, one that would shape the fate of millions across Africa and the Middle East. It was the Arab slave trade, a network that began long before Islam and continued for over 1,000 years. Before the rise of Islam, Arab tribes traded in slaves captured from neighboring regions, from Africa, Persia, and Central Asia. When Islam spread across the Arabian Peninsula, it did not immediately end slavery. Though the Quran encouraged compassion in the freeing of slaves, the practice itself continued, woven into economies and empires from Baghdad to Zanzibar. Over time, this trade grew vast. Arab merchants crossed the Red Sea and the Sahara, establishing routes that carried ivory, gold, and human lives. They captured or purchased men, women, and children from East Africa, often with the cooperation of African rulers and traders. Together, Arab and African networks supplied markets from Cairo to Constantinople. The numbers are staggering, millions of people taken over centuries. Many were forced to march across the desert in chains, their feet burning on the sand. Countless others perished on the journey, their bones left behind as silent witnesses. Those who survived faced fates that were often worse than death. Boys were castrated to serve in palaces and armies. Women were taken as concubines or servants. Children were separated from their families, their identities erased forever. This was long before European ships began sailing the Atlantic, and when the Ottomans rose to power, the system expanded even further. From the Balkans to North Africa, from the Indian Ocean to the heart of Arabia, the Ottoman Empire relied on human trafficking as a source of labor, wealth, and control. For more than 1,000 years, this trade reshaped the demographic and moral landscape of entire continents. And yet, history often looks away. The Arab slave trade is rarely taught, even though it lasted longer, and in many ways was more brutal than the transatlantic trade that came later. It reminds us that evil is never confined to one race, one region, or one time. It is a darkness that crosses borders, wearing the mask of profit, power, and pride. Both Arabs and Africans played their parts, some as victims, others as profiteers. And just as in every age, there were those who looked away, those who justified, and those who obeyed. It is a story of human cooperation, not in righteousness, but in corruption. We must face these truths without hatred, but without denial, because until we acknowledge the full history of slavery, not just where it ended, but where it began, we will never understand how deeply the human heart can fall, and how far it must rise to truly be free. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Beyond the Veil. I hope it gave you something to think about, something that will bring you closer to the truth. And I'd love for you to be a part of this journey. Make sure you subscribe, share this video with a friend, and leave a comment to let me know what stood out to you. Together we can bring more light to the world. See you next time.